Hey, what is going on, guys? 100 Assetto Corsa videos covering mods of all different varieties, of all different classes and categories of racing. And boy, has it been a journey over these 11 months. And today, I am paying tribute to that by sharing with you guys 50 total Assetto Corsa mods, 25 track mods, and 25 car mods. To make this go quicker, we're covering 1 minute for each, so 30 minutes per track and per car, because they are grouped together. So in total, this video is 50 mods in 25 minutes. I'd like to thank you all for the support once again over these past 11 months. Assetto Corsa mods have been my channel as a whole, pretty much. I haven't really deviated from that path very often, so thank you for all of the support, from the monthly videos to covering cars and tracks specifically. There is something for all of you on this list, so thank you for the support, and let's hop right into this. First up for our tracks and cars, we have the Liger JSP 320 LMP3, ladies and gentlemen. This is brought to us by AC Forum SK, and this thing is the Liger LMP3 machine. This car is, of course, built to LMP3 specifications, so if you've driven the Ginetta or you've driven an LMP2 car, this car is basically a slower version of that. And the track is the Dubai Autodrome. This is brought to us by the Reboot team. It is version 0.81, 5.4 kilometers makes up this FIA Grade 1 circuit. If you're familiar with any of the Reboot team tracks, this one is just as high quality, and it is the highest quality Dubai Autodrome we have in Assetto Corsa, much better than the other one that you maybe even have. Next up, we have the 2020 Toyota GR Yaris. This is Toyota's brand new little sports hatchback. This thing is kind of like the modern AE86, if you would like to think about it that way. 272 brake horsepower. It weighs 1,260 kilograms. If you're into free roams like LA Canyon's Pacific Coast Highway or the Shotoko Revival Project, this car will be great to add to your collection. And then we have Sportsland Sugo. This 3.7 kilometer Japanese circuit is a super fast flowing track with that tight chicane at turns 5 and 6. It is so fun, and it is such a challenge, especially if you're in anything high speed. The mod is very high quality. It's brought to us by Main King TS. I highly recommend you check this track out. Next up, we have the Toyota GR86 2021. This one is the right-hand drive specification. This thing is like a baby Supra, 235 brake horsepower. It weighs 1,270 kilograms. This thing is the successor to the Toyota GT86, which also looked like the Subaru BRZ and the Scion FRS, so I'm really glad it has a unique look. As for the circuit, this is the historic Goodwood Circuit, 3.8 kilometers. If you have any classic cars, it'll be fun to throw around here. And of course, this circuit is used in the real-life Goodwood Festival of Speed. This is not the hill climb, this is the actual circuit that they take the classic cars racing on. Whether you want to lap F1 cars around it to see how fast they are, or you want to be thematically correct and drive classics, this track is fantastic. Next up, we have the Ford Sierra Cosworth RS500. There's multiple cars in this pack, but I will be covering the DTM version, the 1990s 352 horsepower machine. This thing is brought to us by Jay Lemon and Akina Style. It's in version 3.0, and it is a fantastic mod, and if you like tin top cars, this will be one that you will immediately pick up and gel with. As for the track, we have the Sachsenring. This one is brought to us by Gunner333. If you aren't familiar with his works, he makes some absolutely fantastic track mods, and this one is no different. It was actually very recently updated, and by very recently I mean today, the 23rd of December. So there is a lot to love about this track. It is super fun, and pretty much any car will go around here. You could probably even get F1 cars going. It is that fast and that fun. Next up, we have the Peugeot 905 1C. This thing is brought to us by RTM Mods. It is the 1992 specification of it, and if you don't know, this thing is a Group C monster. This car won the 1992 24 Hours of Le Mans in its class, and it is super quick, and if you love classic prototypes, this one will be right up your alley. And boy, is it a challenge to drive. The track for this is the brand new Albert Park Circuit by Chicky Freaky. This thing is still in beta 06, and it is fantastic. It's an F1 2019 game conversion, so it's super high quality. If you don't know, of course, this hosts the Formula One Australian Grand Prix. It used to be the starting race of the season, but with COVID, it's kind of been pushed back. We haven't raced there in 2 years, but hopefully we will get there in 2022. Next up, we kind of have a meme car, but it is really worth it, and it's honestly kind of fun. This is the Honda Acty Fujiwara Special brought to us by DTM 1120. This thing has 190 brake horsepower. It has organically grown tofu in the back, and if you want to throw this thing around your toge tracks, you're honestly going to have a lot of fun because this thing is challenging to drive. Paired up with it is the brand new Sebring International Raceway brought to us by the Reboot team. This is the new gold standard Sebring in Assetto Corsa, 6 kilometers long. It hosts the Sebring 1000 for the WEC, as well as the 12 hours of Sebring for IMSA. As you probably know, this track is historically bumpy, and it is represented very well in this mod, so definitely be prepared for your arms to hurt. Next up, if you're into classic cars, this one is for you. This is the 1963 Alfa Romeo Giulia TI Super. This thing is an amazing tin top classic. It has 240 brake horsepower. It weighs just 850 kilograms, and it is super fun. Personally, I love driving this thing around the Nürburgring Nordschleife. It is really fun and really chaotic as well with the AI, so it might take you a couple tries. The track is the Hungaroring. Of course, this track hosts the Formula One Hungarian GP. This one is made by ACU and updated by Jim Lloyd. It's in version 1.2, 4.4 kilometers, FIA grade 1, of course, to host F1. If you watch F1, you're very familiar with this track. I don't have to explain it, and this is the best representation of it in AC by a distance. Next up is the Toyota GT1 TS020. This car is built for GT1 specifications. It has 599 brake horsepower, 649 newton meters of torque, and it is super light, weighing just a 903 kilograms. If you're into classic Le Mans racers, this one will be right up your alley. So of course, lapping it around Circuit de la Sarthe is a treat. The mod is super high quality, so I recommend you check it out. And for the track, we have Circuito Riccardo Tormo. This track right now is known for hosting Formula E preseason testing, and last year it hosted a rain-soaked E-Prix, which was definitely kind of a shit show, to say the least. It hasn't come back on for an E-Prix this year, but it's still a really fun track, even if you're not racing FE cars around it, so check it out. Next up is the BMW M3 E36. I'm focusing on the tuned version. This one is brought to us by Nizar Razuk. I think I said that right. 495 brake horsepower. If you're familiar with the E36, it's one of the best known BMW M3 track cars that people build, so if you're interested in those, this mod will be fantastic for you, and it is super high quality as well. And then we have the Macau Grand Prix circuit, this 6.1 kilometer race room conversion brought to us by the Reboot team. If you don't know what the Macau Grand Prix is, it is a notorious Formula 3 race that modern day F1 drivers and champions have raced and even won. This track is the gauntlet for all aspiring open wheel racers, F1 drivers, and truly only the best of the best will win it. It's always a great watch every year. Next up, we have the Porsche 911 GT3 from 2022, or the Porsche 911 992. This is the brand new refreshed Porsche 911. This is the thing that you're gonna have the Cup cars with, and eventually, I assume, a GT3 car update for, and this thing is sexy as hell, at least in my opinion. If you're into free roam cruising, or you just like racing around in road cars, this one will be a must-have for you. The track is Autodrom Most by the Reboot team. It is in version 1.01. This insanely fun track is located in the Czech Republic. Lower level open wheel racing or some slower tin top cars, not like DTM cars or anything like that, will go fantastic around here. And yeah, this track is really fun. Of course, it's the Reboot team. It is super high quality. It's a really nice, more grassroots style track, and I personally love it. Next up, we have the 1983 Toyota AE86 Coupe Torino. This thing is tuned and upgraded a little bit, so 184 brake horsepower. And of course, I think everyone knows what the 86 is. All you Initial D fans can rejoice. This thing is super cool looking. It has some really cool and unique colors. And if you're into taking photos as well, this one will fit perfectly into your collection. The track is the brand new Orchard Central Circuit. This one is brought to us by Legion of Racers, and they're using it in their upcoming championship, but they did make it free and available for all of us on Race Department. It is one of, if not the highest quality street circuit I have ever seen for Assetto Corsa. It's really fun. It's located in Singapore, and if your VRC Formula Lithium has been getting some dust on it, this is a great way to take it out for a spin. Next up, we have the Subaru Impreza STI 22B. This 1998 legendary STI is a one that you're definitely going to want to have in your AC road cars collection. Once again, if you're into free roams or you just like driving around in street cars, this car is for you. It is super fun. It's a lot faster than I thought, honestly. As well as something I really like doing is taking it around the Nordschleife, surprisingly enough. As for the track, we have the Lausitzring, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. This 4.5 kilometer track brought to us by TM Modding hosts the DTM race, or one of the DTM races in Germany, I should say. I'm focusing on the brand new DTM layout that features the first turn of the oval layout that's kind of just a triangle. It's kind of like a German Pocono. It's really interesting. This track has a lot of layouts, and it is really high quality and fun. Next up, if you're into open wheel cars, this one is for you. This is the Formula Argentina 2.0 brought to us by H22. If you don't know who he is, he brings us a ton of stuff from Argentinian motorsport into AC. This 234 horsepower little Formula car doesn't really fit into any regulations, I'm pretty sure, but if you like lower tier open wheel racing, this will be an absolute no-brainer for you to download. And of course, if you've played iRacing or you played Forza even, you are familiar with this track. This is Lime Rock Park, 2.4 kilometers, and this thing is scary for racing. The highest level it does is GTLM and GT3 for IMSA. Besides that, I think it's more just like club racing and like Mazdas and things like that. So very tight. Don't take anything fast around here for racing, at least. But yeah, it's super fun and super high quality. Next up, we have the Alfa Romeo Tipo 33 T12 Spider. This 70s open wheel endurance prototype course built by Alfa Romeo, 498 brake horsepower. It is super fast for a 70s car, and it is really fun on all of your more classic tracks, and even on some of your modern ones as well. This thing will go great around, and plus, it's really fun for racing. As for the track, we have this icon, the Mount Panorama Circuit. This one is brought to us by the Reboot team, 6.2 kilometers. It is laser scanned, converted from Assetto Corsa Competizione, and if you don't know, this thing hosts the Bathurst 12 Hour, the Bathurst 1000 for Australian V8 supercars. There is so much iconic racing that goes on around here, and if you're familiar with ACC at all, you know this thing instantly. Way faster than it should be, and very scary. Speaking of scary, this is the Mitsubishi Lancer Evo 8 Time Attack Edition, ladies and gentlemen. 1,017 brake horsepower, 1,131 kilograms, a big wing, tons of downforce. This thing is like an equivalent to an F2 car. It is absolutely insane, and man, is it fun, and also very challenging to drive. Don't underestimate this thing when you first hop into it. As for the track, we have Mont-Tremblant. This 4.3 kilometer Canadian track is actually owned by Daddy Lawrence Stroll, and it is a track I had never heard of until I actually saw it on like a Google News thing, something about it. I don't even remember, but it made me look up this track, see if there was any Assetto Corsa mods, and sure enough, there is one. This one's made by the Reboot team. It's in version 1.1, and it is a super fun track. If you have F3, F2 cars, this thing will be a treat. Next up, we have the 1983 Toyota Corolla Levin 1600 GT Apex. This 128 horsepower little tofu machine is going to be one that all of you JDM fans are going to rejoice over. If you're into doing toge runs as well, this thing of course isn't the fastest, but it doesn't need to be. This thing is an icon, and it also is great for taking photos. As for the track, we have the Fuji Speedway GP, 4.5 kilometers. This FIA Grade 1 circuit is made by the Reboot team, and it mainly hosts a round on the WEC calendar. At least it normally would in non-COVID times, because Japan has been super locked down. This track also hosted, I believe, the 2007 and 2008 Japanese GP, and honestly, F1 should go back here. Next up is the Opel Calibra DTM spec. This was when DTM and touring cars were popping off. They were in their prime. 1996, 500 brake horsepower, no traction control, so be careful on the loud pedal. This thing is super fun, and if you're into classic cars or tin top cars, this will fit perfectly into your collection. This thing is just insane. As for the circuit, we have TT Circuit Assen. This Dutch track, 4.5 kilometers, hosts a round on the MotoGP calendar, or at least it used to. I don't keep up with MotoGP. I think it was cut because of COVID, but I could be wrong, and I'm sure you will correct me in the comments. It's a super quick flowing track with some chicanes as well as your fast flowing corners, so super interesting, and there is a lot of fun to be had here in GT cars or some lower open wheel stuff. Next up, if you're into classics, we have the Maserati Tipa 61, also known as the Maserati Birdcage. This 1959 racer has 250 brake horsepower. It's on those classic vintage racing tires, so it is super slidey. You will never be going in a perfect straight line in this thing, I will tell you that right now, but that is just all in the joy of driving this beautiful classic car. As for the track, we have Circuit du Laquais, I hope I pronounced that right. This French 3.1 kilometer track mainly hosts club racing, but it is a really unique layout and some slower speed stuff, either GT cars, you know, little Mazdas, or if you're in some like F4, F3 cars, it could go really well around here. Super unique layout, amazing track mod, and yeah, highly recommend you check this one out. Next up is the Dallara Stradale. This is Dallara's first attempt at making their very own supercar, 400 brake horsepower, 500 newton meters of torque. It's a full carbon fiber monocoque, so it has 855 kilograms. It is super fun, and it's honestly a lot faster than you think. This car is also made with real Dallara Stradale sim and CAD data, so again, super fun to drive. I highly recommend you check it out. And of course, you probably could already see it. I hope you could. This is the Daytona road course by the Reboot team. It's in version 1.3.1. What doesn't the Daytona Motor Speedway host? It hosts the Rolex 24 if you're into road racing. Of course, the historic American Daytona 500, the Great American Race. This track is amazing. It's a super high quality modern version of Daytona, and of course, Reboot team, go check it out. Next up, we have the BAC Mono. It comes with both street tires as well as slick tires. This thing is actually road legal, so if you really wanted to buy one and drive it around, you could. But in Assetto Corsa, it has 304 brake horsepower, 307 newton meters of torque. It just weighs 580 kilograms, and if you're looking to buy in real life the closest thing to like an F3 car for the road, this is where you gotta look. As for the track, we have the Sonoma Raceway. It's hosted both Indy GPs as well as, of course, the yearly NASCAR road racing venture up to this place. It has the older NASCAR layout that didn't feature the little, like, boot thing, I think is what it's called. But now they use the Indy circuit, I'm pretty sure. The old layout was a lot better for NASCAR. But anyway, 3.8 kilometers of American road racing fun. Definitely check it out. Next up is the Nissan Skyline R33 GTR LM. This 1995 GT1 category car raced at Le Mans, and it is an insane car. And if you love GTRs, this one is definitely for you. Super quick, super grippy, lots of fun. In my opinion, it looks fantastic as well. It has some really cool livery options, so I definitely recommend you check this one out. And fitting for the gameplay, it is at a track that needs literally no introduction, ladies and gentlemen. This is the 13.6 beautiful kilometers of the Circuit de la Sarthe, also known as the 24 Hours of Le Mans Circuit. This one is brought to us by the Reboot team. It is in version 2.1. It is a Forza Motorsport 7 conversion, so it's not laser scanned or anything, sadly, but it's a lot more accurate than the one you can find on Race Department. Next up, we have the McLaren 720S GT3. This thing is a nice modern update to your Assetto Corsa GT3 car list. 500 brake horsepower, 500 newton meters of torque, 1,240 kilograms. It is a GT3 spec car. Comes with a bunch of liveries for both IMSA, you have Blancpain, Super GT. There is something for everyone in the liveries as well as just for the car. It's a GT3 car. Who doesn't love GT3s? As for the track, of course, no introduction. The Suzuka International Circuit, 5.8 kilometers of ACC conversion goodness. It's brought to us by the Reboot team. It is super, super high quality, and to have that laser scan version in AC, it is so, so good. This track, of course, hosts the Japanese Grand Prix for Formula One. There is nothing to not love about Suzuka, and this track is fantastic. Next up, we have the Formula Ford Van Diemen, also known as the Formula Ford, also known as the Formula V. If you play iRacing or you've seen the Formula V that they added a little while back, this is that, but in Assetto Corsa, and it is a super fun grassroots starting open wheel car. It's tough to drive, but once you master it, it's a lot of fun, and it's really fun for racing as well. As for the track, we have the brand new version of the Road Atlanta Circuit by John R. This track is in version 0.8, 4.1 kilometers. The most notable race that this track holds is the Petit Le Mans for IMSA. You've definitely heard of Road Atlanta at some point. If you haven't, at least you've definitely seen it. It's a super fun, classic American road circuit, and it is a lot of fun to master. I highly recommend you check this one out. Next up is the Volkswagen ID.R. This one is in the Pikes Peak spec. If you don't know what this is Volkswagen's all-electric, just performance beast. They took it to Pikes Peak. They shattered the record. They took it to the Nürburgring Nordschleife. It shattered the record for electric cars, and it was one of the fastest cars in general to lap the Nordschleife. This one is brought to us by Element 1999. It's in version 1.0, and it is super high quality. As for the track, this is the Marina Bay Street Circuit. This hosts the Formula One Singapore Grand Prix, 5.1 kilometers, FIA Grade 1 spec. I do believe this is an F1 game conversion. If not, someone is an absolute master 3D modeler, because there's no author credits to this track. I wish I could say it was from someone, but I sadly can't. It has perfect night lighting, so if you're a fan of F1, you definitely need this one. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, this is the McLaren F1 GTR Longtail. This thing was made for GT1 class specifications for 1998. I am pretty sure it raced at Le Mans. I could be wrong on that. I actually don't know a ton about this car, but of course, it's the McLaren F1, the single-seater beast made by McLaren, and it was the predecessor to the brand new McLaren Speedtail. This one is made by Legion, so it is super, super high quality. And as for the final track, this is the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course, 3.9 kilometers. It's made by Z-Wiz. It's in version 2.0. It is a conversion to AC by Terra 21. This thing has had a lot of people work on it, but it is super high quality, and it hosts in real life the Indy Honda GP. So super fun track, and if you're looking for things to throw around your VRC Formula NAN, this track will definitely do the trick. So yeah, guys, 50 Assetto Corsa mods in total, 25 tracks, and 25 cars. Thank you for all the support over these last 100 Assetto Corsa videos. Here's to 100 more. Again, my original plan was to do 50 cars and 50 tracks, but the YouTube description character limit physically doesn't let me. So maybe for 200 videos, I will do another 50 to make up for it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thank you for all the support. If you did make it to the end, you're a real one. And yeah, more AC content coming soon. Thank you guys for watching, and I will see you all in the next one. Have a good one, guys.